indie game fans, welcome back to I Dream of Indie. Ole Gamer Joe is coming at you again today with another review. We are looking at Darkestville Castle for the Nintendo Switch, a point-and-click adventure game that was developed by Epic Llama and published by Buka Entertainment. This one will also be heading to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One as of August 13th, 2020. The game had previously been released onto Steam platform as well. Darkestville Castle will also have a launch price of $14.99 here in North America. In this game, you will take control of an incompetent demon named Sid, the Demon of Darkestville. He's a pretty hilarious main character, as you'll come to find out, and he gets himself into quite a pickle. Sid's day-to-day routine in Darkestville has him tormenting and making people miserable around town, but one day a character named Dan Teapot gets sick of it and hires a group of professional demon hunters in order to get rid of Sid. As you progress through this game and explore the town more and more, meeting all of the interesting villagers that inhabit it, you'll eventually begin to start understanding more and more about the storyline of this game. I don't want to go too into the details here because it's a lot of the fun of Darkestville Castle, but do know that if you're a fan of Tim Schafer's writing, for example, the Monkey Island games, you're going to really be in for a treat here. In terms of gameplay, if you've seen us review a point-and-click adventure game, this might sound a little redundant, but that's really all this game is, a very basic point-and-click adventure game as far as the gameplay goes. I initially found the speed of the cursor to be a little bit on the slow side, but thankfully in the options menu you're able to adjust that so that you can make it as speedy as you're comfortable with. It doesn't exactly feel like a mouse, but it still gets the job done for playing on a controller. But outside of that, you're just exploring a variety of the different locations around Darkestville and eventually some other areas as you get deeper into the game. But for the most part, it's just pointing, clicking, going through dialogue choices, and solving some puzzles. If you aren't familiar with point-and-click adventure games for whatever reason, that involves finding a lot of obscure items, trying to get them out of characters through those dialogue choices, or just find them in the environments. Sometimes they're fairly well hidden or out of place. You'll likely run into a lot of the same frustrations that this genre is known for. Items can be hard to find at times, the clues can be a little bit on the subtle side, and piecing together these puzzles isn't always the easiest. Still though, there's tons of humor in Darkestville Castle, and that will likely push you forward to want to solve these puzzles. Maybe you'll eventually be reaching for the strategy guide in order to figure out what's happening, but you'll ultimately want to see what happens to these characters that you discover along the way. There is no real hint system in Darkestville Castle, and you can't illuminate objects like the recent Roki that we reviewed here on the channel, so expect to be stuck a few times for sure. But again, if you really get stuck, there's going to be strategy guides out there. You don't have to necessarily use a walkthrough to get through the entirety of the game. There are portions of the title that are more manageable than others, but do anticipate getting stuck, some wandering, and talking to the same people over and over again. There's a very bare bones, no pun intended, inventory system to this game, which has you simply dragging items onto the appropriate area, but you can also combine items together by dragging them on top of one another. That's pretty much it. It's definitely the graphical style of this game and the characters and the writing that kept me pushing forward, though. I really did enjoy the graphics of this game. They're beautifully drawn, actually. The world of Darkestville looks very inviting, very grim, but very hilarious, too. If I had to issue one complaint about the look of this game, it's the fact that there aren't a ton of different backdrops. You will spend a lot of time in the same locations, but I can't complain too much because they're so well detailed, and the developer does a good job of switching up those same scenes from time to time, so they look a little bit different. I really like all of the different personalities that you'll come across. They're beautifully drawn, like I mentioned. All of the characters look great in this title, and all of the set pieces are excellent. Now, personally for me, I enjoy horror and gothic settings in my games. That might not be for everyone, but as long as you're on board with that, this is a great looking title with a lot of personality. The soundtrack's really well done too, definitely a little quirky, a little offbeat, something like you would hear in a Tim Schafer classic point-and-click adventure game. A lot of slow drums here, some lounge-like music. I really did enjoy the soundtrack overall quite a bit, and the voice acting is top-notch in this game. It really does help to add to all of the characters that you come across. Great job here in terms of presentation and sound design. I really did like the look and sound of Darkestville Castle quite a bit. Darkestville Castle is another great point-and-click adventure game with a good sense of humor. I enjoy the atmosphere of this game. I think it plays really good for what it is. Obviously, the controls aren't much to think about, but the puzzles will be, and yes, they are a little bit obscure as this genre is known for, and they may frustrate you from time to time, but I found that the humor of this game was always worth it. If you are looking to add another point-and-click adventure game with a lot of charm and personality that will have you laughing and maybe pulling your hair out a little bit here and there, Darkestville Castle is a great addition to your Switch library.
I must talk with King Vigo. Open the gates.
No one can enter the castle.
It's a direct order of King Vigo.
But I'm a very important person.
Who are you?
Tell me the name of someone really important.
King Vigo.
No, another one.
King Vigo's mom?
Exactly. No. Well, that's it. I'm King Vigo's dad.
So will you be pointing and clicking your way through Darkestville? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you have enjoyed our video coverage today, consider hitting the subscribe button to help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There's a ton of other ways to support I Dream of Indie. We now offer memberships as well as a merchandise store. Be sure to check it all out, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you so much however you end up supporting I Dream of Indie.